And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Third Eye Meditation Podcast. I'm so
Hey.
happy everybody could join us. Hannah's here in the studio, and we got a good show for you today. I got to touch on a few things really quick, like we're still in the old studio, and today is April 5th, 2023. We're going to be moving starting in May. Any show that you hear that's in May is going to be in the new recording studio. So you may still hear some echoing in the background, some traffic coming by. That's only because I started packing up the old studio that we're still in right now. But get ready. Third Eye Meditation Podcast is going to be full force come May. Hannah and I, we can't wait. We're excited about this, but we still wanted to bring you some content and we wanted to get your minds going. That's why we're doing this show tonight. I'm not going to touch on too much. I just want to touch really quick. If you are listening from one of your favorite podcast platforms, I want you all to do us a favor. Go to our new website. It's going to be in the synopsis of this program, but it's thirdeyemeditation.onpodium.co. So it's thirdeyemeditation.onpodium.co. Want everybody to go there, sign up for to get your email notifications. Every time we have a new podcast, you'll be notified first. There's blogs on there. Hannah's going to have an advice column soon. I'm going to have a meditation lesson soon on there. But I want everybody to start visiting on there because we're spending money on that website and we got a lot of things planned because we could do so much more than what we were able to do on the old website. So go visit thirdeyemeditation.onpodium.co. And if you are listening to us on the On Podium site, we thank you very much. And Hannah, if you want to do Jen's.
Yes. So, for all your metaphysical needs, please be sure to check out Mind's Eye Metaphysical. She is located at 3 Railroad Ave, Marietta, PA. And help me out with the zip.
The zip I don't have right offhand, but that's okay. We don't really need.
Yeah, I think it's
just
like.
Get her on the website.
Yes. Sorry, it's been a long day. Mindseyemetaphysical.com. So www.mindseyemetaphysical.com.
Excellent. And we hope to have Jen on our Facebook show soon. I'm trying to hope that she'll be a first guest in the new studio. So I hope everybody looks forward to that because I know she did a podcast with me last summer and you guys really bought that show right up. I think she's still third place as most listened to podcast. So we're going to have her in the studio on Facebook. So this episode tonight, we're going to be kind of testing your mind a little bit. You see, I've been talking to you guys for a long time about the basics of meditation, just how to do it. Take 5-10 minutes a day, breathe, relax, do some guided meditation, do some focused meditation. This is real basic stuff. It's been coming up on a year now. I think it's time we start getting a little bit higher. Even if you're still on that lower end, that basic end, that's fine. You can still do that, but I want to give you an idea of what it's like when you're really in that deep meditation. Now, we did the deep meditation, and that was a great episode,
It was
too.
a good episode.
Yeah, and this one, though, I want everybody to focus on the fact that when you are meditating, you got to have an open mind because your mind needs to think. Everybody that thinks, oh, I can't hush my mind. You don't want to. You want it to think and you want to question everything. You want your mind to give you new ideas, take you to different places. Now, this is not a disclaimer. However, I just want to explain how this episode is going to work because a few of the subject matters that we're going to discuss, I don't want people saying, oh, believe the science and, that there's scientific explanations for everything. It's all fine and dandy. That's great. I believe in science myself, but we have to question everything. And that includes science. We have to include different opinions. We have to include different thoughts, different theories. But this is you when you stop and you think and you're starting to wonder and question things. It doesn't matter what it is. This is you. This is your thought process. It has nothing to do with science. And there's so many different theories out there. I'm not going to focus on any one of them, but I just want to challenge everybody. And I want you guys to take exactly what we're saying with a grain of salt, but focus on it. If you want to go down a different direction with it, please do. If you have a different train of thought on it, think about it. Think about it from a different perspective. Because I've been thinking about this for a long time, and especially since it involves some of my favorite subjects, which is aliens and stuff. You could go down so many roads with it. And now this is not going to be like an episode dealing with aliens, but it's really questioning us as a human race.
I was going to say listener, like what is it? Viewer discretion advised, like listener discretion advised.
Yes. Yeah. That's what we're trying to get at. All these podcasts, some of them are lighthearted. Some of them are just advised. And then like tonight, it's going to be challenging you to think. Open up your mind. It's just like opening up your eyes, then open up your eye. I want you to focus and think. You have to start questioning everything and think deeply, because that's what you need to do in order to start meditating and meditating deeply. So tonight, this is what we're going to do. I want to question us as human beings. Where do we fit in? Are we actually hybrids of some sort of alien race? Or are we just star seeds? Or were we really from the earth and came from the earth? And I question this because a while back, somebody hit me with a question, or I seen a question. They were saying, why are animals designed for their environments? Mm-hmm. They have certain protections, and they're designed to be in the sun for long periods of time. But us as human beings, we're really not designed for the planet.
We're not.
You think about our skin.
I was going to say, like, the number one thing when you said that to me was UV protection. We got to lather ourselves with sunscreen or we're going to get sun poisoning.
Yeah. So why do we, as human beings who walk around in the sun most of the time, that we were born without clothing, so we were born without any kind of protection from the sun, but why? Why are we not protected from it where other animals are? So leads you to that question is like, why don't we have certain protections?
Yeah.
Now, again, question everything and look at everything from a different perspective. I also feel that at once, I'm a little bit older than you, just a little bit, not much. I remember, like, going back in the 70s, nobody really worried about sunscreen or anything like that.
I don't worry about sunscreen still.
Yeah.
Like, I have a kid, so he wears sunscreen. But me, I'm just like, let it burn.
Right. But yet, now, the
it's like
sun
a big
is damaging.
thing. Yeah.
So is it because a big corporation wants to sell us the sunscreen because it's something else to get out there? Or is it the fact that they're spraying these chemtrails all the time, which is changing the weather, changing the atmosphere, and now the sun is actually damaging us more? Was it us as human beings that damaged the ozone layer, which I don't believe anymore because we're doing more damage with spreading chemicals in the sky? But again, we are still susceptible to things like skin cancer, which is unheard of in most animal species that are in the sun all the time.
Yeah. And it's crazy to me too, like when you look back and you hear about like, cultures from like way back when, you don't hear about them dying from like things like that. Like sunscreen wasn't a thing back then, sunscreen's a newer thing,
Which makes you question, again, we're just changing the perspective. Is that just something that's been recently done to get money? Because it's kind of a medical thing, and big companies are pushing it, ruling you by fear, saying, oh, you're going to die of skin cancer. Not to say it's not a real thing, but Some people may be more susceptible to it, whether it be genetics or whether it be fairer skin or whatever, but they're pushing it on everybody. So that's more money for them. But yeah, we didn't hear about it that much, and we didn't hear much about most of the diseases nowadays.
Yeah.
Why are we so susceptible to diseases where, again, a lot of animals, yeah, they have diseases, but not as bad as we do as human beings. And we could question, we're supposed to be the highest race, most intelligent race.
I think dolphins are the most intelligent race in my opinion, but
And they could be. And
I think they're the number one animal that accesses the most of their brain. I think it's like,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay. So maybe they are. And now that's...
But the government and everyone else says that we're the number one, race.
Yeah.
But like in my opinion,
I think, and I was going to save this for a little bit later on in the program, but since you're bringing it up, we as human beings, we're not really designed for work, physical labor. Some people have a higher strength ratio maybe, but we can't do repetitive tasks. We weren't made for that. Our bodies are really just not designed for that. We have soft, easily breakable skin. We have breakable bones.
we don't have as much as adrenaline or strength as some animals.
And that's very true, because a lot of animals, that if they're going to run from a predator, they have to have sustained adrenaline to run. Where us, it's very limited. We're limited to it. We'll drop after a certain amount of time.
And I've heard of like people having like super strength and times of adrenaline. Like, there's times where like people can lift cars and stuff if their adrenaline gets so high. But like, look at elephants, for example. Like literally you go to the zoo and they pick up a whole tree trunk like it's nothing for them.
And again, we're talking massive size, but if you're thinking in the animal to the human world, we should have much more strength.
Yeah.
But we rely more on tools and all the artificial stuff
that's been created.
Right. Instead of using our own natural bodies to work, to build, to have that kind of strength, but we don't. So what is the reason for that? Why is it that we just are not, or at least it seems that we're not designed for the planet that we're living on?
And it's crazy because like you can look at the animal that, science says that we're most compatible to is monkeys. But you go to the zoo or, you watch a documentary, monkeys are smart. They are, like you said, their skin is built for the earth. They're super flexible and strong. And it's like amazing. It's fascinating to watch them. And it's like, they belong here. But do we belong here? Because, we're supposed to be as close to them, but we are so different.
And this is why I like when I meditate, I sit and I just think about this stuff. And like I said, you could go through science, you could say genetics, and I mean, there's just so many plausible explanations. There's probably explanations that are 100% accurate. But again, why not question this? What's wrong with questioning? Everybody jumps down your throat right away because you're throwing in aliens and you're thinking that it's some big conspiracy or you're just a nutcase believing in aliens. I believe in aliens, but I have to question. I always say I'm kind of a starseed. I think we're all from the universe.
For sure.
Because if you think even when asteroids hit Earth or come into our atmosphere and break up, that's alien life forms. There's probably bacteria or stuff, whatever it may be on those rocks.
Maybe it's their waste.
It could be their waste.
You know
I mean, it is. I mean, they're rocks, so exploded planets or whatever, or probably from back when the Big Bang Theory happened. These are probably older stuff, and they're falling into this Earth, and they might have some sort of microbiological, things in them. I mean, I've heard stories. I don't know. I really wish I would read up a little bit on this, but anything that comes from outer space that enters into our atmosphere, it lends a little bit of credence to say, well, some other being at some point probably did occupy this Earth. Now, the gray theories, the ones I'm always reading about, is just like the hybrid theory. Did we crossbreed, like the whole missing link, nobody knows the missing link, was that the crossbreed between human and alien, or some sort of earlier man, ape man, that bred with some sort of alien?
Yeah.
And the theory is they used us as slaves, for whatever the reasoning. So, again, these are stories, and you can read about them, and everybody form your own opinion. I don't want to go into that whole discussion because that's a whole nother podcast. But the possibility is there.
Yeah.
The possibility that we did crossbreed with some sort of alien, which would then lend a little bit of credence to how our minds work.
How
why
the intelligence came about.
So we started to get more intelligence. We might have been, and I've said this in previous podcasts, we might have been deprogrammed.
Yeah.
Once whatever this other life form was that left the planet just said, okay, well, we don't want them having the knowledge. And this follows a lot of the Christian beliefs, a lot of the Bible beliefs, but if we just take the God out of it and just replace it with the alien life form, because anything that creates life could be considered a God.
Yeah.
Without changing anybody's belief in religion. It just gives you a different way to look at it and a different way to think about things. I'm bringing all this up because when you meditate and you start thinking about things like this, it might, some people may get a little freaked out. You're in such a deep meditative state, and then all of a sudden you start thinking, hey, was I, bred by an alien at some point? But this is a way to look at yourself, your intelligence, where it comes from, and everybody that's trying to reach that higher self. This is what you need to think about, because you start to open up your eyes and you start to see things in such a different way. And Hannah, I'm going to hit you with this because we do the show unscripted, and this is just so everybody knows, and everybody that listens to this for any period of time, we're unscripted. And now that Hannah's in the studio, I hit her with the topic pretty much like a day in advance or a couple days in advance, and then I go over real quick what I'm going to talk about. And I don't tell her every single thing I'm going to talk about because I like to have the reactions, a natural reaction from people. So just based upon what we talked about just now, what are your opinions? My opinion is, like I said, I do feel that we are some sort of starseed. I do believe we were probably crossbred at some point. That's just my feeling. I've been reading a lot of other theories, and a lot of it sounds very convincing, but I do this in my meditative states. Have you ever meditated in any kind of state or thought about any of this?
Yeah, so actually when I was younger, this topic actually used to be one of those things that would give me high anxiety. Like, I would be up at night because it would, in my mind, I always just question, how did we come about? Where did we come from? You know what I mean? So it was something that, when you reached out to me, it was it uncovered something for me where it was oh my God, when I was a kid, this used to keep me up at night. And I always used to question, and me having, Christian beliefs, but also I have spiritual beliefs as well. And I do believe in aliens, FBI, if you're listening, I really want to know about Area 51. Anyway, but I always thought back to, I was always a big firm believer on Adam and Eve, but where did Adam and Eve come from?
Exactly.
And everyone will argue, well, Adam and Eve came from God and Jesus, but where did God and Jesus come from? You know what I mean? If you're going to believe that, a good saying, not to jump off topic here, but a good saying that people, have always mentioned to me. And, in the time that I did go to church, they would say to me, well, if you believe in God, you have to believe in the devil. You can't believe in one or the other. You believe in heaven, you have to believe in hell. So for me, I was, when I was younger, it's funny, actually, my mom always used to joke with me that I was an alien. Because, just the way I acted, some of my body features, I'll give you a little tidbit. My belly button is mad weird. So I actually, when I was younger, I was I think aliens are real. And so I always believed that, cavemen especially, I'm going all over the place, but I promise it'll all come together. I was cavemen definitely came from monkeys. You know what I mean? Not a doubt in my mind, but where did they get those human, features? Where did they get that? Where did we get our soft, skin from? where's the hair? You know, we have hair, but it's not like monkeys, you know what I mean? So I agree with Gary as far as, you know, we had to be crossbred with something. And I always thought, you know, maybe it was an alien. And, you know, maybe when they left Earth because they realized what the human race was coming to, they decided to take their intelligence out of our beings. So that's why a lot of people get scared of the unknown. Like with me, having that high functioning, like high anxiety when it came to thinking about that all throughout my childhood, it was like, because maybe my brain was opened up to the possibility that the intelligence is somewhere inside of me still. It's just I have to learn how to unlock it.
Now that's big because, yes, see, you do go into these meditative states. You do think about it, and some people do get anxiety over it because a lot of times it's the unknown. It's unanswerable questions. And when you sit and think about it, it should not give you anxiety. It really should pull you more towards questioning more and figuring it out. And that's what meditation's all about, trying to figure things out on your own in a meditative state, coming up with your own theories, coming up with your own ideas, or taking things that you learn from elsewhere. Like you said with Adam and Eve, well, where did Adam and Eve come from? And like you said, with God, replace God with anything.
I literally when you mentioned this topic, I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna like give out like one of my secrets, like something I've kept all to myself forever, because like I used to like be like just so uncomfortable and like to like ask, you know what I mean? I never asked my mom, I never asked anybody, you know. When I did go to church, I never asked like the preacher or whatever their name, you know, whatever they are, because I was just like, it's just something that like, it's so weird to think about. When I was a kid, I used to like cry because I just didn't understand where we came from. And it's just something that's in my brain that it's just like, I just wish we knew, you know, because it's the unknown. Scientists can give you these theories, but like they said the Big Bang Theory, you know, okay, that may be true, but where did it come from? You know, where?
Now, I've been reading a lot. Like I said, recently I started getting into the alchemy. And when you're reading alchemy and you're reading the Kybalion, it really explains a lot of this. And it's weird because I went onto some Christian websites that say the same thing. When you question God, like, well, where did God come from? You know, and it's this constant where they always say, well, God just is and always will be. Well, in alchemy, it's the same thing, but you know what? It's your mind. It's the all. It is the everything. And it always existed and it always will. But now we're taking away the God and we're saying it's our mind. Which then begs the question, how much stuff is made up? How much of this is reality and what's the real? So where do we separate the two?
Because like with me, because like I was like, you know, when I did go to church, you know, when I was younger, I went to Bible school, you know, not like full time, but like during the summer. But like I always was just like, was taught like you don't question God, like you don't. But at the same time, like I said, like I do believe in God, but at the same time, it's like, but where did he come from? He can't just be, you know what I mean? He had to be from somewhere, you know. I'm not questioning his liveliness, you know what I mean, but I'm just questioning where, you know. And that's where, you know, we could even dig deeper, which, you know, could be another podcast. Like, did God come from, you know, these previous gods where, you know, if you believe in like Athena, Zeus and everything like that, you know, it would make more sense because, you know, they accordingly had, quote, powers, you know what I mean? Powers may have generated from aliens, you know?
Right.
So it's just such a rabbit hole.
It is. And just define alien, because like I say, alien could be God. Anybody that created life can be a god. I also believe in the whole theory that we are our own gods. You know, but we do sit here and we do have to question, because the universe is huge, but when we get into our mind and our consciousness and we're sitting thinking about stuff like this, we are seeking the answers that used to give you the anxiety. Now you could put it in a different sense and saying, you know what? You are now in control of that experience. You are now in control of the thought process. You can come up with your own theories. And when you sit and you think about it, you're now creating what you feel is right and how you feel right. I want to hit you with this. Now, when we do this, when we're talking about the universe, or if we're talking about our features of our mind and where we, I don't know, we're either creating the reality in front of us or none of it is real.
Mm-hmm.
All right? It gets very confusing. We're living in a world, right? You know the old saying, that's what they say. Who's they?
Yeah.
Okay? Follow me for a second. Who says we have to wear the clothes that we wear? That we have to look a certain way? We have to eat 3 square meals a day. We have to get up and work. That we have to retire at a certain age. Does this seem real?
I want to counter argue about just one part. I feel like for as long as humans have been around, I feel like eating has always been that thing, but I feel like it wasn't a set. You have to eat 3 meals a day. Like, you know, you just eat whenever you want. You know, that's me today. I don't really eat 3 meals a day. I eat probably like a million times a day. But everything else, like, yeah, it is questionable. Like, is it real? You know what I mean? Like, you know, a good example is girls wear pink, boys wear blue. You know what I mean? You know, nowadays, you know, what is it? The trend is, you know, kids can wear whatever they want, which is totally awesome. 100% supportive of that. But like you said, like, is it real? Like, why were, like, you know, clothes, like when in point in time were they like, yeah, we need to cover up, you know what I mean? And also, like, why do we have to work until we're, what is it? It's not even 65, 67 now. Like, when did that become a thing? You know what I mean? Because even probably like maybe 100 years ago, was that still a thing? You know what I mean? And where is this, you know, I don't remember on the top of my head when the dollar bill was adapted, but at the same time, where did this inflation even become a thing? As far as houses used to be maybe, what, 10 grand back in the way day when houses became a thing. You know, before it was just like little sticks and shed and you call it a day, you know? But now it's like, where are we getting these $500,000 homes from? You know what I mean? When did we decide that what Mother Earth provides to us would, things like that, that we deserve to make a profit off of? Because we're products of Mother Earth.
We are.
Like you said, I like how you said we're universe seeds. That's like a big thing in my head, that like we did come from the universe. Maybe the universe generated us. But are we disappointing the universe on how we're forced to live?
We're being controlled. Again, now, everything you're saying is exactly what I was trying to get at. We are not, what we're creating is not real. You do bring up the resources of the earth. Food, shelter, clothing.
Yeah.
Why do we have to pay for that? These are
Food was always
necessities.
free.
Right. The earth provides this for free, but we're living in a system where they're making us pay for this, and if you can't pay for it, they disrupt your life for that. The clothes that we're wearing, why do we have to wear clothes? Because again, we weren't adapted for this world. We have to protect ourselves with clothes. We have to wear protective clothing when we're in certain jobs. Why?
Or seasons.
Seasons.
Winter.
Yeah.
You can't go out in a bikini top. You will get frostbite. And, you know, that is a thing. That's always been a thing. Frostbite, you know. I've, you know, just from being in school history class, you know, you've seen, especially like Native Americans going into colder temperatures, they have, you know, record recordings of them dying from frostbite. But that goes back to, you know, why weren't we built to protect, adapt?
Yes, all valid points. And this is what I question. Because now I question, why is this why do we allow this to happen? Why are we forever slaves? Because I'm thinking, if we were hybrids and we were created to be slaves, are we still slaves? But why are we enslaving ourselves? Because now we could go into the theory of the reptilians, you know, the Illuminati, again, a whole nother episode. But if there are shapeshifters that are in higher powers of government, that they're still controlling us, all right, it's a far-fetched theory. Some people believe it. I could believe it to a point myself, because I have to question, why are we in this situation? If we are human beings, that we're from the earth, but yet we're not adaptable to the earth. And someone's controlling us, telling us this is what we have to do. And we become like puppets. And then we wake up every day at the same day. We go to the same job. We come home at the same time. We eat at the same time. Nobody's really free.
Yeah. And like, you know, food for thought on that is that, you know, like we went back and said, you know, maybe we were crossbred with aliens. And then when they took their intelligence away, they took away that protection from us, you know. And it could have been that, like, you know, at one time aliens were with us, you know, when the dinosaurs came about and things like that. And then they saw how, you know, when cavemen came about, how humans started treating the earth, and that's why they had left, because they realized that we weren't, you know, maybe bred pure for their intelligence or, you know, things like that. So maybe when they left, then they took that part of them away from, you know, the first human beings, and that's where it was lost.
Now, I wouldn't say it's necessarily lost.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the spiritual, even me with the alchemy and all, the key is meditation. When you're in that plane and you start thinking the way we're thinking right now, we're now getting the keys. We're thinking, and we're turning on our brains, and we're thinking outside the box now. So which means we never really lost the power. We still control that power, but we control it through meditation. And this is why I keep saying this is the deeper part of meditation. This is why we meditate. We're reaching out for higher selves, for whom we truly are, whatever that really is. Now,
and just to add real quick, I feel like when I was like saying that, you know, yes, like I said, maybe I've always had that, you know, what if, and like I'm trying to access that intelligence. But as far as, you know, if we were with aliens, you know, maybe when they did leave and go back, you know, go explore, you know, in the unendable universe, you know, they took that environmental protection from us away. You know what I mean? So that's why, you know, we have to wear this and we have to wear that. With me, it's like I said, this always has given me anxiety. So I always try to come up with multiple options to, I guess, put peace in my mind when I talk about it, because I always have to be like, sometimes I have to stop myself because I'll get too deep in the meditation about it, and I'll just be like, it is because it is, you know what I mean? Just to get myself out of it, because I will go down those deep, long wormholes about it, and I'm just like, I'm getting carried away.
Well, good, because this is what another theory to this. As human beings, why are we depressed? Why is there anxiety? If we are designed where we could create whatever we want, we could build whatever we want, and we created this whole money system, which means everybody should be rich, but yet we're full of anxiety, we're full of disease, we're full of hatred. Debt. Yes. So when you're sitting there saying, yeah, the anxiety and all, why do we get it? Think, stop, meditate, relax, release the anxiety, and think, question, come up with your own ideas. Think deep. This is great because you're bringing up some ideas that exactly why I brought up this whole podcast, because we don't know really who we are. We don't have the answers yet, but we can seek them out, and we are not doing it. We're stuck and we're trapped in the system, and it's not real. I'm going to throw this at you. Just random. I know it was brought up, I think, in some books and some questions. So, check this out. Did you ever see your neighbors, or any neighbors, unloading groceries?
No, listen. This freaks me out. I have never seen it up until I got close with my most recent neighbors, which I'm going to miss when I leave. So if in case they're watching, I'm going to miss you, even though I'm only not going to be far. Until me and her went grocery shopping together one time. And I was like, oh, finally, like I had peace in my soul, because I literally have never seen it before. It freaks me out.
Look out your windows. Don't be overly nosy, but if you've lived in one place for so long, usually even in crowded urban environments, do you ever see...
It's so weird.
Right. How often, like, when you're coming into settings like we are here, it's kind of rural, do you even see neighbors? You know they exist. You know they're there. Very rarely see them. But yet, you know they're out. They got to work, they got to live, they got to cut firewood, or they got to cut their lawn. How often do you see them? This is where the mind, like you say, the only reason you seen your neighbors shop is because you were shopping with them and you brought them into your reality.
Yeah. I think the only other time like that came close to it is I was grocery shopping and I saw my neighbors grocery shopping and I was like, huh.
It's your reality that you're creating.
You know, but I didn't see them come home and put them away. Like, not put them away, but, you know, bring them in. Meanwhile, I feel like my neighbors, the amount of time just from having like a kid and, you know, a husband that eats my kitchen out like it's its job, they've probably seen me quite a few times. But it is weird. You just to think about. I just want to bring this up. I've never seen a pregnant Asian person before.
That's interesting. Wow, I just really drew a blank on that.
Yeah, like my boss is Korean and I've seen her pregnant before, but I've never seen like a pregnant Chinese person or anything like that before. And I'm just like, that is so weird.
Yeah. And now you see, this is how our minds work when we're in this reality.
I think of the most random things though.
Yeah, but even still, this is your
Because you just
reality.
drew a blank. You're like,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah, I haven't really seen it either myself. And I mean, I've worked in a medical field and I haven't really seen it.
See? Weird. I just blew his mind.
Yeah.
You should see the look on his face.
Yeah. And this is exactly how it was when the question was posed, did you ever see your neighbor unloading groceries? It is. It makes you stop and think. Mm-hmm. And I'm always talking about the matrix and how to break out of it and all. But what is the matrix? Well, that's the matrix right there. What is your reality? So everybody that's worrying about everything and the anxiety, it's because you're trapped in a system.
Yeah.
And once you start to question it, and even though these questions and all seem weird, and maybe you're saying, well, yeah, I see my neighbors. Maybe you're seeing them because that's in your reality. But you have to understand, there's some sort of matrix, some sort of unrealistic world that we're living in, but it's our minds, our consciousness that takes us outside and brings us to where we really want to be, and where all the questions are answered. But we need to question. We got to ask the questions. You brought up something good when it comes to Bible church and all, and I know because I grew up in the Catholic church too. You never question God, which led me to the question, why?
Yeah.
Why are you not allowed to question God? Because again, that's setting their reality, and they don't want you to step out of their reality.
Yeah. Which I think there's nothing wrong with questioning him. And I think honestly, just from a personal view of things, is that I think if you do believe in him, this goes for just believing in the universe too. Like I truly believe that when someone is questioned, especially God, and the universe, they might appreciate that because they're being thought of. When I would pray, or sometimes I still do, I always would be, because when you pray or you ask the universe for something, we talked about this before, we touched base on this, you have to give back. So with me, when I would pray, I would be like, God, like, this is my prayer, la 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 la, and I hope you have a good day. I hope your troubles will be like not a burden to you soon. And with the universe, like I asked the universe, great example, my wedding day. I was like, please God, like please universe, just give me a nice day. Downpoured. But after that downpour, it cooled I got married in a barn, whole barn cooled down, and it was a beautiful day after that. What was it, 10-minute downpour? And It's what we needed. So the universe, I was like, you can still rain, like, because I believe like when the universe rains, like, or I believe that it's the universe expressing its emotions. I've been a firm believer of that. The weather is the universe feeling, and I was like, have your emotions, but like, just please give me this day, and that's what happened. And like I said, is because I was giving back, I was asking for something, but I've always been one to give back because I don't believe just asking the universe or God for something and then, expecting it to happen.
Right. And this brings us back. The universe, our minds, we create what we want, and whomever your gods, your beliefs are. But even still, don't follow them blindly.
Yeah.
Question. There's nothing wrong. Like you said, it would be flattering if somebody was asking me questions if I was a god.
Yeah.
You would want to give the answers. So you're absolutely right. Why question? Well, because I think it's important because
To know.
yeah, because we're all gods ourselves and we need to know this knowledge.
And like also like with God, like, you know, if he just is, you know, how do you feel about being God, the person who has to answer everyone's prayers? Why are you God? You know what I mean? And I think that in a greater scheme of things, you know, if you do believe in God, you know, it's nice to be questioned.
You want to be questioned because it would affirm you as a god.
Yeah, as a person, you know.
Yes, like I said, I've been studying this with the alchemy and the all is and just is. I get that. It's a creation of our mind and it's continuous. But again, there's no reason why you can't keep questioning and you can't keep looking at things from another angle either. Like, you could throw in the aliens or you could take them out completely. You could throw the science in there. But don't just dismiss things. If somebody hits you with a different theory, think about it and just think about it critically. Take it with you in meditation. And this is your guys' lessons. Next time you're in a meditative state, think about this. Who are we? Are we human? Are we from this planet? Why? Why not? And come up with different theories and think. Meditation shouldn't any longer just take 5 or 10 minutes. Stay in that meditative state. Listen, you could stay in a meditative state for days.
You can snore with meditation too, apparently.
Apparently so. I don't know who you're referring to, but but take it into meditation. I've been in these deep meditations for days now because it's getting to the point where all of a sudden, now that I'm questioning a lot of things, I'm seeing the lack of reality, like, or the reality that's in front of us. It's not real. It's not designed for us as human beings. And I'm realizing this is why there's so many problems. There's so much hatred. There's so much anxiety, depression, whatever it is. We should release ourselves from our bodies and just rely on our consciousness. And it's amazing when you do that, you start seeing things in a different way, and a lot of the ego is gone, a lot of the hatred is gone, because you see that everything was a lie, and us as human beings can't get along because of that. So once we're all living in the all living consciousness, the one universe, and we realize that we are all just one, we start realizing that we are human on that level, and we can get along much better.
You know, I'm going to go off of the rail a little bit here. I want to talk. I was thinking about this ever since you brought this up. I want to talk about COVID.
Go ahead.
I think that since COVID became a thing, and COVID has been a thing for a while, not just 2019 to, let's say, 2022. I feel like COVID calmed down 2022. It's been a thing for years. It just became, you know, recently a thing. And, you know, whatever your opinion may be, I truly think that COVID was released, especially in China, for a population control. But that's just my opinion. You know, and then it became a thing because I feel like everything started to happen, whether it had been, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement or, you know, the brutality against police, and everything just started getting way out of hand, you know, especially here in America, you know, Trump becoming president and everything like that. I think it got too crazy and the government didn't know how they were going to control everyone. So COVID happened. And during COVID, I feel like ever since we've been out of COVID, I feel like during COVID, a lot of people's mindsets and bodies have changed, as far as you see more and more now people getting sick because our bodies aren't adjusted to, we were locked inside for 2 years. You know what I mean? We had to wear masks anytime we would go outside, and we weren't adjusted. We're not like adjusted to the regular pollen outside. You know what I mean? Like, I think I've had a sinus infection for 2 months now. My mom's been feeling like crap for 3 months now because of just like outside, our bodies, our immune systems are destroyed. And that means, pharmaceuticals making more money. And then also, like I said, just like the way people's mindsets are, I feel like we've seen more, and like I said, listener discretion advised, like we've seen more school shootings. We have seen more tragic events, like this past 2 weeks, there was like 4 horrible, not large casualty, but, under 10 people, but that's still large. A person lost their life, casualties on just a main highway near us, train derailment. Like, so much of this stuff has happened after COVID, and it just kind of makes you think like COVID really changed the way people lived. You know what I mean?
Right. So really, if we were never really adjusted for our environment, and then we adjusted to a point where we are not used to being masked up and in isolation, it changes you. It doesn't just change you physically, it changes you mentally. And when you really think, and you really did touch on all these events that happened, I would agree. It was controlled. It's a controlled reality that we're in. It's steps they're taking for whatever it is that they're building up to. I believe we're at war. It's psychological war at this point. We don't need to blow up buildings anymore. But it's a psychological control that they have over us. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, COVID was just that one incident that changed everything, that changed the way we view politics, changed the way we view each other, changes the way we think about race. But again, we're being controlled.
Yeah.
The more and more that I go out in the real world and I interact with people, I don't see racism at all. I see a lot of,
And that's the thing, like, about COVID. Like, when we were all locked away, social media was just like a crutch for people. It was their comfort because that's all we had, But what COVID did to us was have that permanent thing on social media. And, we're on social media now. We're doing a podcast. But, like, at the same time, like, we've talked about this before. People are so mean. People can't agree to disagree anymore because during COVID, this is all we had. So people just felt like they could hide behind that screen, that phone, and just say what they want to say. Like, now you just see like stronger racism than ever before. You have this, and there's, like I said, there's nothing like, Black lives do matter, all lives do matter, but like it's just a stronghold on this, and hate towards all the other races and everything like that, and like the whole big gender, he, she, he, they, like just so much has been brought to us as a human race because I feel like of COVID, because everyone just had too much time on their hands. Some people didn't work during COVID.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, everybody's trapped inside, and all what do we do? And we go on social media and we start coming up with all these, allowing social media to control us. But did anybody meditate? Did anybody stop and think and question? Or how many people just followed along with the program?
With the mandate and everything like that. With me, I was in the process of, having going through IVF for my son. And let me tell you, with COVID and it being controlled, my husband missed out on so many things, and I had to go through so many procedures and everything alone and masked. And, with me having anxiety, it was like, my mom can relate to this, like, masks panicked me, and it just like goes to show like how much we were controlled, like my husband missed out on like these things.
Yep. All controlled, and it was all ruled by fear. Like I said, I did a whole podcast on that, ruled by fear. You're right. It was some sort of plan. And again, we're going right back to what we were talking about. Who are we? Who controls us? Is it us? Or is it something else?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that big picture and the whole COVID years and all, I say we are being controlled by something and for a purpose. And I would, go ahead and say it's money, it's greed, but it goes bigger than that, I think. I really think, because it does. It changes the race. They want you to think, act, walk, talk a certain way.
Robot.
Just like a robot. And we don't have that free thinking, that free will. We're born with free will. We can do what we will.
And let me just say, like, there was nothing, like, going back to what I said, there's nothing wrong with, like I said, we have too much time on our hands, and there's nothing wrong with people coming out with the he, she, they, them, Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, everything like that. There's nothing wrong with any of those movements. The fact that people are standing out for their beliefs is such a powerful, amazing, great thing. But my whole thing was it really much of a big thing or big issue in the world until, the government made it that way, or we had that much time on our hands? Because like you said before, when I went out, I never saw racism. I never saw, if I saw someone who was, lesbian or something like that, it was never a big deal to me. And, maybe it was because of my upbringing and how I was raised, that everyone is equal. You don't see color. You don't see, it doesn't matter who you love. You can love who you want. But at the same time, it wasn't a big as deal as it was after COVID. You see all these movements, you see all these people on strike. And it's great because, like you said, we are, what'd you say? I just lost.
Free thinkers.
We're free thinkers. Thank you. I was trying to think of the word, but we've always been that way. But at the same time, it's like, when did it become violent?
Right.
That's what I was trying to get at. Is when did this free will and free speech become violent?
Right. Exactly. Because, and again, it's just
Tense
the
up
control.
energy.
It is, and don't forget, social media in general, they want to push the narratives. If I'm telling you every day to hate a certain person, and it's being told to you every single day, then obviously it's going to get into your head and say, oh, I have to hate this person because the television is telling me. And again, that takes us back to us as human beings. We need to be higher than this. I believe we are. We're just being controlled and manipulated. And again, we could say it's the government. We could say it's another alien force. We could say whatever it is you want to say it is. But we need to break out of that.
Yeah.
So meditate. Think about
this.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Ask yourself these questions. Why so much hate? Why can't we just get along like we did before?
We really did.
Yeah. I grew up in New York City. That's where I was born and raised. Melting pot. I've seen every race. I've never seen hatred.
Me either. Even now I did, but I was born in the 90s, but even in the 90s and the early 2000s, you didn't see that.
No, we were
you know what I
getting
mean?
along then too.
We were. It's just at what point did reality change?
Yeah.
And why are we just seeing it now? And you may not see it, and you're listening to this now, and you're going to be like, after you listen to this, whether it be today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, you might be like, But that's what we're here for. We're asking you to open your eyes and then open your eye. Think about it.
And with that, I want to conclude this because, like I said, this talk was fantastic because we could go down so many different roads, come up with so many different podcasts, and that would be a wonderful thing. But I really just want people to focus on the fact that we're human beings and we need to start acting like human beings. And this is why we meditate. And when we get into that deeper meditation and we could ask ourselves these much harder questions and really, really think and open up your eyes, open up your mind, and really question yourself and question life, question reality, question where we came from, you might start learning a little bit more about yourself and you might start learning a lot more about the world that you're living in. And you're going to realize we can break out of all of this, and start living the way we should be as human beings.
Yep. And with that, I just want to say that no belief is a wrong belief. Your belief is valid, whether you have someone to agree with you or not. Your belief matters, and your belief is valid.
I love that. Absolutely. We always promote that. It's always think. I'm always open to new ideas. I love hearing different philosophies. I love hearing different theories, opinions, everything else. And it's wonderful. And it's wonderful sitting here talking to you too as well, because again, I hit you with some questions and you hit me back with things I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And that's what life should be about, and we need to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we need to appreciate each other more and more.
Yep. Even if you don't agree with necessarily, like, just to bring up real quick before we conclude, I'm seeing a big thing right now on social media. Bud Light is doing the he, she, they, them thing on their beer cans. And a lot of people are really crushing on hate and crushing on them about this. Here in Third Eye Meditation, we encourage everyone to believe in their own movements, believe in their own beliefs. We don't participate in any hate.
And we also, at least on my end of things, I don't participate in any of that.
Yeah.
We're human beings.
Yep.
I don't push any one program.
Me either.
Or whatever the new in thing is.
Yeah.
Because
we just are.
Yeah, we just are.
Yep.
That's a good way to look. We just are. I don't get involved in it because, again, I think that's something that's programmed. Because, like I said, we can accept everybody, but when things are being pushed down everybody's throat, whether it's politics, sex, whatever it is, once it's being pushed down everybody's throat, that's where you're making enemies.
Yep.
Accept everybody.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be, and we shouldn't put labels on anybody.
Yep. And at least if you don't agree with something, like me, I will be blunt with everyone. Like I said, I've always just been a blunt person. I only believe in, he, she, but at the same time, I do know people who represent themselves as they, them, and things like that. And you know what? That's okay. And I support them, and I'm like, that is your belief. I don't have to believe in your belief, but I'm not going to hate you on your belief, because I don't believe in hating people. I don't believe in hate. I just think hate is very ugly. Have I been frustrated where I'm like, oh, I hate this. You know what I mean? But the only thing I hate is hate. You could say.
That's a good way to look at it like that. Yeah, definitely. Love yourself.
Yep.
That's it. Don't worry about the rest of the world.
Everyone is equal.
That's it. Don't worry about the rest of the world. Don't worry about the rest of the world's opinions or anything like that. Don't worry about the government. Don't care about them. Just keep being who you are. And that's how you break out of this cycle. That's how we get to become humans again. Stop listening to the nonsense. Stop listening to the bullshit. Social media, regular media, just be yourself.
Be you.
Stop pushing everything down everybody. Just
let
be.
People,
just be.
Just be, and let people be who they want to be.
Exactly. That's the best advice we could give everybody to become human beings. Remember, meditate. Ask yourself those tough questions. Think about things. Think about who we are. Think about where we came from. Yeah, reach out. That's why we have the website, please. thirdeyemeditation.onpodium.co. Check it out. It's in the synopsis. I'll leave a link in there.
And make sure to subscribe so you get email notifications anytime we post anything. We would greatly appreciate it.
Definitely. This way you stay on top of everything. There's going to be so much more. There's going to be blogs. There's going to be meditation lessons.
Vice column.
A Vice column is going to be coming soon. And we might have one more podcast before we move. I mean, I don't see why not. I really enjoy doing these.
Yes.
So
next one might be outside. So you might hear some birds chirping, everything like that. We are going to be one with the universe.
I love it. So guys, look forward to the next show. We look forward to seeing you on thirdeyemeditation.onpodium.co, and keep being yourselves.
Have a great day, night, whatever time you're listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.